Welcome. It's Bruce Scholl and Unscrew the News. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a wonderful guest that I have joining us very shortly. I'm excited to have her because we are going to get into some of those details that we've been talking about for many years now. Anyway, we're going to get into that here shortly. I want to say thank you for you joining me. If you are watching, make sure to share this out. Get more eyeballs on this information. We need to wake up the world to this information that we're going to bring you. So continue to do that great work on sharing it with your friends and family. I always like to start off my show by saying thank you to friends, family, and the Lord for bringing us to this place. And the circle of friends, especially over the last 5 years, that have shaped me and Unscrew the News to what it is today. So thank you so much. Also, there's a very important business that I like to support. And I'm not your investment advisor, but I do suggest getting gold and silver to protect your family's wealth. Nuggetstacker.com right here in Calgary has great options for picking up a, Christmas gift. I mean, this is the time if you're interested. There's also a monthly subscription that you could sign up for. Great way to get into gold and silver. If you haven't done it before, their number is 1-866-644-2121. Give a call for any gold and silver questions that you have. All right, my guest today, a very special person that I have reached out to through the this amazing social network that we have called Twitter. It's Dr. Mary Talley Bowden, and she is coming to us from Texas, Houston, Texas, and she founded the Americans for Health Freedom after treating 6,000 COVID-19 patients outpatient and winning a lawsuit against the FDA for misinformation. We can probably ask her about that. She uses Medicare claims data to expose unreported vaccine injuries at the hospitals like Houston Methodist, and pushes for COVID shots to be removed from the market. I want to bring Dr. Mary Talley Bowden on, and thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you joining us from Houston and the sunny shorts weather you said in Houston today, while we are all freezing our butts off. And I had seen you recently on, and I know it was probably not recent that you were joining him, but why did I have a brain block all of a sudden? The podcast. Oh my gosh.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan. Sorry, I recently watched that. And there was some extraordinary information that you were sharing. One of the things I think that he had shared on an episode after you were there was that you had missed out on a fairly large chunk of money by not providing COVID vaccines to people. But it was anyway. I appreciate you being here. Do you mind just telling our audience a little bit about your background and how you got to this point? Because I know that you're quite famous, obviously, and it probably wasn't part of your long-term plan.
Yeah, I'm a ear, nose, and throat and sleep medicine specialist in Houston, and I sort of stumbled into the pandemic. I remember when it came out thinking, well, this won't affect me because I have such a small practice. But I had patients coming to see me with wanting to get help, and I just didn't have the heart to send them to the hospital. So I just did what I could do. And initially I used monoclonal antibodies. And then when the government took those away, then I started using ivermectin. But what I found is that early treatment was very effective. Everybody that I treated early survived and stayed out of the hospital. And I had people coming in to me in the late stages of COVID who were very seriously ill that I was able to keep alive without sending them to the hospital. So I learned a tremendous amount. It was, we as doctors, typically, if somebody comes into your office with an oxygen saturation below 90%, that is a medical emergency. You call 911, you put them on oxygen, you may have to intubate them. But I learned that patients actually could tolerate much lower oxygen levels than we realized. Yeah, basically I got into trouble because I was seeing so much firsthand, and I started speaking out on social media. And when I did that, they tried to destroy me. I had privileges at the first hospital in the country to mandate the COVID shots. So Houston Methodist Hospital on April 1st, 2021, proclaimed that they were going to be leading the way and mandating all of their employees, 30,000 plus employees, to get the COVID shots. And they did this, they were the first in the country. They did this 5 months before President Biden mandated it for everybody. And it had a ripple effect. Once they did it, a lot of big companies followed. I had privileges there, and I started speaking out against the mandates because I was also doing a lot of testing. I was treating people. I saw that the shots weren't working. So I spoke out about that. I said mandates are wrong. And when I did that, they suspended my privileges, and they did it in a very public fashion. I found out through a reporter at the Houston Chronicle that they were suspending my privileges, not from them, from a reporter.
Wow.
Yeah. And they went, it went viral. I had CNN, Washington Post, NBC News. And, prior to this, I was, a mom of 4. I had a very slow part-time practice. I never envisioned being thrown into the media like that. But I just decided to fight back, and we're still fighting, unfortunately, but I do feel like the tide is turning.
Again, props to you and to whatever small organization. I know that you said you have small ears, nose, and throat practice. Obviously, you had a bit of a staff, and you obviously went through the gauntlet after speaking out about it. And we all know how this has been such a cancel culture around this COVID censorship, really, in regard to saying what you think is necessary and what's right. And I guess that's where, I wanted to talk to you. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was doctors in general. Prior to 2020, their job was that we expected that the truth, we expected, compassionate care. And there's a lot of doctors that really weren't allowed to do that. And it sounds like you were one of them. I know I mentioned just sort of a list, but I have interviewed a number of them here. Dr. Mackus, Dr. Trozy, James Thorpe, you probably know him. Chris Shoemaker, he's from Ontario. Andrew Zwick, I can't remember how to say his last name, but a number of great doctors here in Canada have been canceled, have been crushed financially and professionally by their associations. Have you managed to skirt around those issues, or have you just fought back and continued to be on your own? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, well, they reported me to the medical board. I had 4 complaints to the medical board, and I have just been fighting the board. I could have made it all go away if I just paid a fine and took CME, but I decided to fight. And that has cost a ton. I mean, it cost me over $250,000 in legal fees. And, the end result was they issued me a public reprimand, which I'm still fighting. I'm going to appeal that to the state district court. But it's eye-opening about what, how hard it is to fight if they accuse you of something. It's really, you're really out of, unless you have the money and the time and the energy, you're out of luck. I mean, and it's, that was very eye-opening. And it basically, the 3 of the 4 complaints were dismissed. The one that they have reprimanded me for is because I had a patient in the hospital, sheriff's deputy, father of 6, wife reached out to me because he was basically determined to be in hospice. They'd given up, and she wanted him to try ivermectin, and the hospital refused. and basically fought tooth and nail to keep him from getting this. So she asked me to come testify. I did. We won. The court ordered the hospital to grant me access to the ICU. Hospital basically refused. They just, defied the court order. We did everything we were supposed to do. I submitted 2 full applications. The lawyer for the patient finally told me, well, we have the green light. Everything's good. And so I send the nurse to the hospital. She's greeted by the police and she's turned away, and she didn't cause a scene. It was all very calm. But they said that because I sent the nurse and the hospital did not grant me privileges, that I am guilty. We will argue that, a court order supersedes a hospital credentialing committee. And that, that will be our argument going forward. Wow. But I will be, I've already sued. Already filed a lawsuit against them. And there's an organization called the Federation of State Medical Boards. Basically, this is this private organization that has this stranglehold on every state medical board in the country. And they issued a statement telling state medical boards to go after doctors for spreading misinformation. So we all got complaints around the same time. It was the fall of 2021.
Right.
There was like a flurry of complaints around the country. And so we have so far 4 plaintiffs, but we're building upon that. Doctors that got disciplined thanks to the efforts of the FSMB.
So what happened with the patient? You weren't able to see him. You weren't able to get him to ivermectin. And did he not make it?
He actually did survive the hospital stay. He was in there for 6 months. His wife was applying ivermectin to him topically every day, which might have had something to do with it.
Nice.
But he was never able to make a full recovery. And unfortunately, he did pass away after, about a year after that.
I see. Well, those stories are so many and so widespread of hospitals working tirelessly against patients. There's a number of people that I've interviewed as well. One of them out of the UK, and she has stories after stories of hospitals actually, and I won't get into it, but obviously not doing what was right for the patient. It's sad to see. This is a real degradation of your industry and of the trust that people had in the medical industry in general. Do you see that yourself, and has that changed for you drastically as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was very eye-opening. I mean, I had encountered some bad apples in the medical profession before. We all have, who have extraordinary amount of power, but have an evil heart. I've definitely seen that in my training. But I didn't realize the extent of the problem until the pandemic. And, maybe not, just a lot of cowardice, probably more than evil, but I did not, I kind of went into medicine because I thought I could be independent. I didn't want to work for a company. I didn't, I thought it fed that desire to be independent. And when I got out of residency, one of my job offers was to work for Kaiser Permanente, which is like this big corporation. And I just had zero desire because I wanted that independence. And I joined a very small practice, and then eventually I started my own solo practice. And also being a surgeon, we tend to be more independent-minded, more strong-willed, and so it's just surprising to me that very few doctors spoke out. But yeah, it really shined a light on. But one thing I will say, though, about doctors is that to get into medical school, you have to be a straight A student. You have to be well-liked. You have to be a team player. So that's part of it. Is that you have these personalities that are sort of know how to conform.
Yes.
And then when you're in the training, they really beat you down. I mean, it's probably very similar to the military. You have to fall in line. You can't go outside the lane, and you have to be very obedient. And
Right.
they beat you down. So if you survive that, then you're kind of been molded. So that's part of the problem as well. And then we've got the financial strings that most doctors are attached to. They're not independent. Now, I'm financially independent. I don't contract with hospitals. I don't contract with the government. I don't contract with insurance companies. And so I am beholden to my patients first and foremost. The buck stops with me. If I'm a bad doctor, people will definitely stop coming to see me because I don't
Right.
take insurance. And so it really is just me and the patient. I call myself third party free, but that allowed me also to treat patients the way I thought they needed to be treated without some third party administrator whispering in my ear or threatening to take away my livelihood.
So I'm sort of laughing because of what you said, and I can imagine. So in my head, I'm imagining the lineup out your door during COVID of people, because you're obviously healing and helping people where the hospitals, certainly weren't. But was it a night? Well, no, not a nightmare, but was it pretty overwhelming, the number of people that were coming to from listening to other interviews? It sounded like you had quite a few people coming to you.
Yeah, it was. We opened 7 days a week. It was insane. I've never been so busy in my entire life. It's actually a huge blur right now, thinking back. Uh, but yeah, it was quite busy, but very rewarding.
I bet, and I can't imagine that people were very excited to see you, almost rock star status. I would think, because you were saving people, and obviously that was a very critical time.
Yeah, well, yeah. Initially, though, they named Houston Chronicle named me one of the most controversial people of 2021. So early on, it just really depended on who you asked.
Right.
Uh, it- yeah, I was scared to go to the grocery store. I was scared to go to my kids' sporting events because they really attacked me so hard.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. It was definitely a crazy time, and I know that I I hope to God that we are coming to the end where we actually are holding somebody accountable for what has happened. It sounds like you are working towards that with a new lawsuit or a new investigation. I don't know what to call it, but in regard to Houston Methodist and the VAERS reporting, do you mind just giving us a little bit? I know that you can't tell us too much about this, but it is very exciting to hear that we might be getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah, so we can look at Medicare claims data, and the public can access it. You do have to buy it, but you can, and you don't get people's names. But you have some basic demographic information, and then you can compare that to VAERS, which same thing. You have some basic demographic information, and the hospitals, if they signed a COVID-19 provider agreement with the government, they were obligated to report to VAERS anybody that was admitted to the hospital following the shot within I can't remember the exact time frame, but let's just say I think it was like 6 months. And it doesn't matter what they were admitted for. So, but if they got their shot, say at Houston Methodist Hospital, they gave them the vaccine, and then they were admitted to Houston Methodist Hospital within 6 months, regardless of the reason, they were obligated to report that to VAERS. And now we can comb through that data by looking at their demographics and figure out if they're in the hospital and they were vaccinated, and then they end up, are they in VAERS? And if they're not in
Right.
VAERS, that's a violation. So far we've found 1,575 patients who were not reported to VAERS. And this is a framework that we can use at every hospital in the country.
So just to get a bit of background, I know you said that there's 30, did you say 30,000 employees at Houston Methodist?
Right.
So is it a chain of hospitals, or is it just one large hospital?
It's multiple hospitals,
I see.
multiple locations.
Okay. And so you had put out this post that I'm sharing. I think you can see it right now, right?
Right.
So was there anything else? So this is the information that you guys are going through currently to find these people that weren't added to theirs. Obviously, that was against their regulations.
Right. And it doesn't prove, okay, they landed in the hospital from the shot.
Right.
That's not the point of it. It just boils down to the simple fact that they are obligated under this COVID-19 provider agreement to report these to anybody who ends up in the hospital. Even if they end up with COVID, that's a reportable event. They are supposed to report them to VAERS regardless. And
right.
The other thing to keep in mind is this is just Medicare and Medicaid data. It doesn't even account for all the people under 65, right, or not on Medicaid. So this is just a tiny sliver of probably many more cases.
Tip of the iceberg, really, right. And you really are just finding, a small portion of the data and the people that were injured. So great work. Is this another part-time job that you have, or is this another hobby? I guess because it sounds like you're very busy.
I'm in the PR department on this effort more than anything. I'm not the nuts and bolts of it, so I can't. I'm more just get the information out there to the public. But we have somebody with much better research skills and data skills than myself who's working on it.
Well, it sounds like you're getting. It's really odd that we have to, or that you have to, or anybody has to, sift through all this information, and we're, looking for back channels really to find this information that should be out there. Again, they should have been entering this information into VAERS as they were required to show this information. And we have the same problem here in Canada. So were you seeing that there was actually or I don't know if you've seen this, or even if you can talk about it, but was there a directive that said don't report it to VAERS, or is that just an implied?
Not to my knowledge, but when you look at the announcements made from administrators at Houston Methodist in the early days of the COVID shots coming out, there's nothing in there. They don't tell people about VAERS or what to do if they see an injury. I mean, it may exist, and I just don't have access to it. But they're guilty by omission, in my opinion, because I didn't know about VAERS prior to the COVID shots. Vaccine injuries weren't on my radar at all to begin with. So it seems, and the Surgeon General of the United States actually should have made an announcement about it and didn't. No, from what I can tell, it was very hush hush. But there is a lawsuit. Deb Conrad, who is a physician's assistant at Rochester General Hospital, she was reporting injuries or potential injuries to VAERS, and her hospital said, no, stop. They said, it's too much. And they fired her.
Wow.
And that case is actually in discovery right now. So it made it past the motion to dismiss. And so that gives me hope, because that it's a very similar situation where they were suppressing VAERS reports, which is illegal. It goes against the COVID-19 provider agreement, and it's in discovery. So they're going to be able to prove it.
You mentioned that this could be the framework to take to Well, pretty much every hospital, it sounds like, around the United States. I hope that it spills over into Canada, but we have a different medical system, so it may not equate exactly. But hopefully it uncovers something that will take it and open it up. So I guess the opportunities are endless once you see something with this procedure and moving forward. Well, we're excited to hear more about it, and we'll hopefully reach out to you. Now, one of the other things that in regard to this case was holding somebody accountable. There seems to be cracks forming. Are you seeing it in from your side of things? Because I'm seeing it, I know, on X, where it seems like we might be getting close to Fauci. It seems like we might be breaking down CDC or FDA, the structures that have kept it hidden and have suppressed this information. What are you seeing on your side?
Yeah, on a federal level, I don't have a whole lot of hope as long as Trump is in office. I don't think we're going to have anybody held accountable. But on the judicial level, yeah, I know of somebody who's suing Houston Methodist over the mandates, who's made it into discovery, which so that if you can just make it past the motion to dismiss, that's huge. And then the whole Brooke Jackson case it's been a 5-year battle, and it's still going on. She's the whistleblower. She was managing a research hub at Pfizer, and was seeing that the research was not being conducted the way it should have been conducted, and reported that to Pfizer, reported that to the FDA, and they fired her. And so she has a whistleblower lawsuit now, and it's hanging on by a thread. Unfortunately, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has stepped in and trying to get the case dismissed. So she's siding with Pfizer. And so,
Really?
Yeah. But there was a hearing at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals not too long ago to see if the case could go on. And so we're waiting on the outcome of that. It sounded promising. The judges sounded like they were on Brooke's side, from what I could tell, but we don't know for sure.
Well, we're going to continue to cross our fingers and pray to God that we get somewhere. Now, one of the other things that I saw recently, and this is in regard to the FDA, and I'm sure that you're aware of it, but I don't know his role, but Marty McCary, and he's from the FDA, I understand, had recently talked about a black box warning that was going to go on the COVID shots. And then apparently he came out and said that wasn't going to happen. Do you think that we're ever going to remove the COVID shots from the market in general, or do you have any hope at all for that?
I don't have hope for that while Trump is in office. It's just such a no. We have so much data, and there are different types of data. We have peer-reviewed studies. We have DNA contamination data. We have autopsy studies. We have life insurance and disability data. Normally, a black box warning gets placed on a drug after 5 deaths. Well, the CDC, they recently acknowledged that there have been at least 10 children have died from these shots. We all know people that have been injured or killed from these shots. It's like this gigantic elephant in the room. And if Trump can't see it, then it's just not going to get seen. So I'm not optimistic that they're going to be pulled while Trump is in office. But I will say at the September ACIP meeting, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, the CDC admitted that only 10% of healthcare workers are getting the shots. So that's good. But
moving forward.
Yeah. But
moving forward, yeah.
I did see a patient not too long ago who was coerced into getting a 4th COVID booster and is severely injured from it. He did not want to get it. The primary care doctor pressured him, and he just decided to do it. And now his health is really in serious trouble. So unfortunately, there's still a threat out there. It's not as large because most doctors are not getting them, but still there are some that are getting them and pushing them on people. And even scarier is that children can still get these shots.
Well, sorry, I was just going to bring up something because you and I just sort of mentioned it before. Hang on one second here. I'm going to bring you back, but why did it go like that? Hang on one second. Why are you not there? All right. Oh, there we are. I wanted to bring this up because speaking of forcing people to do this, and this is a study out of Canada, out of the UBC, or the University of British Columbia, where they said COVID-19 vaccination significantly reduces risk to pregnant women and baby. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read this headline here. Pregnant people who received COVID-19, pregnant people who received COVID-19 vaccine were far less likely to experience severe illness or deliver their babies prematurely, according to a major new UBC Faculty of Medicine study published in JAMA. Oh, I'm so shocked. I'm not really shocked. It's this very crazy province that we have of British Columbia. It is very much on the Marxist scale of craziness. Is still pushing this COVID vaccine onto pregnant women. And they can't even call it pregnant women, unfortunately, because they're so crazy. They call it pregnant people because men can have babies over in British Columbia. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that? It's absolutely insane as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that study, but COVID is a cold. I don't worry about my COVID patients anymore at all. I don't even know. I can't even remember the last time I treated COVID. I mean, I see flu now, but I haven't seen COVID in a long time. So why would you put yourself through any kind of unnecessary risk with these shots? There's a golden rule of pregnancy. You don't experiment on pregnant women at all. And this is still in the experimental stage. We won't be beyond the experimental stage for 10 years. So it's just mind boggling. Pregnant women can't eat deli meat, but we can inject modified mRNA material into expose a developing fetus to that. It just defies all common sense.
I mean, isn't honey one of those things you're not supposed to have?
Botulism, yes.
Botulism, yeah. I mean, certainly we don't do that, but we can give them a COVID mRNA shot and hope for the best. Good luck with that, little buddy. One of the other things that I wanted to ask you about was I think we talked about the UBC study, CDC. Now, as far as you and looking forward, I know that you're busy. Let me see here. I've got a couple of things pulled up. You've written a book. Do you mind if I bring that up?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Dangerous misinformation is what the book is called. I'm going to bring it up right now. Let's see here. This is on the Amazon website, on Amazon. Dangerous misinformation, the virus, the treatments, and the lies. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what we can find in the book?
Yeah, sort of a tell-all. Kind of goes into the gory details of my fight. I named it dangerous misinformation because that's what Houston Methodist accused me of. They said I was spreading dangerous misinformation, harmful to the community. And I thought, well, maybe if I name it this, some liberals will pick it up, not knowing otherwise. So yeah, there's going to have to be a sequel because I'm still fighting. The story's not over, unfortunately. So hopefully the part 2 will have a better ending.
Well, the fight continues, right? There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and it was the organization that you started. Why can I not find it here now? Oh, there it is. Okay. Americans for Health Freedom. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I connected with a representative from Michigan, Brad Paquette, who suffered from myocarditis following the shots. And he's young. He's in his, I think, early 40s. And I saw him posting about it. And I asked him, would you be willing to state that the COVID shot should be pulled off the market? And this was about 2 years ago. And he responded wholeheartedly, yes. And so it gave me the courage to start asking more politicians to do the same. And so our foundational project is to simply just recruit politicians who will state that the COVID shot should be pulled off the market. And they can be in office or running for office. They can be all positions of power. They can be precinct chairs. They can be school board members. They can be state representatives. I have 3 members of Congress on the list: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ron Johnson, and Thomas Massey. We have the Surgeon General of Florida, Joe Latipo. But I had 5 people sign the pledge this morning. I haven't updated the list.
Wow.
So it does keep growing.
And it looks like over the past 3 years, Global COVID Summit has gathered the names of 17,000 physicians and scientists who have signed the pledge.
Yes.
Amazing work. Amazing work. Now, you are also dipping your toe into politics. You told me just before we hit record. Do you want to tell the audience about that and give us your elevator pitch?
Yeah, so I'm running for precinct chair in my neighborhood, precinct 440 in Harris County. And it's basically to just bolster, it's to initiate legislation. So I can draft bills or suggest bills that need to be drafted and promote those within the Republican Party. And also to give PR to the Republican Party. But Harris County, where I live, is the largest county in Texas. It's the 3rd largest county in the country. And it has become it's been taken over by the Democrats.
Is it purple or is it blue?
It's blue. It's blue.
Yeah.
It's
Oh no.
So it's really important that we take back Harris County. And there's a lot of apathy. Like there are a lot of seats that just didn't get filled, or there were no Republicans ran for the seats.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get a new Republican chair for Harris County. That's my friend Don Hooper, who's running, and then try to recruit people in these precinct chairs who are like-minded and will motivate other people to get involved.
You bring up a good point, and it's something that we fight against here in Canada as well, and is the apathy. And do you find? Sorry, this is just a general question. It's not about medical. It's not about COVID shots or anything like that. But do you find, as conservatives, it's hard to get them motivated to realize that they have to be engaged? Because that's what we are seeing here in Canada. There is that apathetic mentality of, you know what, I just want to live life, and I want to have a family, and I want to have a house and do my work, and that's it.
Yeah, well, that's how I was prior to the pandemic. So I can completely relate, but the pandemic changed that for me. Yeah, I think when things happen to you, when you're directly impacted by a corrupt system, it motivates you to start acting. And then I think a lot of people feel like, well, there's nothing I can really do about it anyway, so why should I get involved? But social media makes it a lot easier to take action. Just speaking out. It's our town hall. It's how we, especially X, and the people that represent us, they don't like to be publicly shamed. So that's an easy way to use your voice and get more information on how to get involved and make an impact. But I never thought I would be making any kind of impact whatsoever, but it can be done. One person can do it. And so we just need we don't need that many people. We just need, a few more people to step up and get involved and speak out.
I wish you luck in Harris County being the sorry, what was the role that they were chair?
Precinct chair. So there's
Precinct chair.
yeah, I don't, you probably don't have that in Canada.
No.
But it's basically like the lowest level politician in the system and it feeds into everything else.
Right.
So uh, it's not a huge responsibility, but I see it as, a PR person and motivating people to try to get involved.
Okay, so the ultimate question, or it's not the ultimate question, but so are you still going to be doing your private practice and being a precinct chair at the same time?
Yeah. So the precinct chair, apparently there are only 4 meetings a year. It's
I
not a
see.
huge time commitment, but
Okay. And so as far as your practice is concerned, so does it continue on the same way, or are you expanding, or what do people have to look forward to as far as Talley Bowden?
yeah, I am talking right now with somebody who is initiating clinical trials for the vaccine injured. So I'm
Mm,
hoping to get involved in that because it's very trial and error right now. I see people with some really severe injuries that are difficult to treat. And we definitely need more research in that regard. So that I'm excited about that.
I was listening to you on a space today, and I mentioned this before we hit record, that you were talking to a group of people, and one of the topics that you were talking about was recovery and healing from obviously the injuries that people had seen from taking a COVID vaccine. Is that what you're going to be sort of targeting? Is relief and healing from the injuries?
Yeah, probably about half my practice now is people that are injured from the COVID shots, and the recovery tends to be very slow going. People, I do see some success, but it's like I said, trial and error, different things, and especially the neurological problems are the toughest.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'm hesitant to just throw things at people without, knowing if it's going to work, especially if they cost a lot of money. And so these clinical trials are very important.
Hmm. One of the things that sort of touched me personally was one of the things that you were talking about, and you had mentioned it, neurological, was tremors. That you were talking to somebody about tremors. That are you seeing that a lot now, like Parkinson type?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say a lot, but I would say probably maybe half the people that are injured come to see me have tremors. One person I'm thinking in particular in her early 50s, prior to the shot, she was a marathon runner, very healthy. And now her right arm will not stop shaking. And this was in the same side that the shot was given. She, of course, has seen multiple doctors. They're all baffled. They have no
Hmm.
idea. They won't even entertain the possibility that has anything to do with the COVID shots. And it's been very difficult for her and very hard to treat as well.
They're always baffled, aren't they?
Yeah.
Baffled.
Yeah.
That's the word for 2024. I think it was. It definitely used it in 2025 to describe the doctor's outcome or their diagnosis. I guess was baffling. What else? Now you've obviously had this, like I said, a bit of fame thrown at you because of your standing up for freedom or standing up for censorship that came at the doctors. Where does that come from for you? Is it family? Is it a history of this? Were you a different life before you was? Were you in the army or the military in some way?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Grew up with 2 older brothers that always bothered me. So
So you had to fight.
I was always fighting them.
Yeah.
Always telling my mom to send them away. Um, I don't know. I mean, they just came at me so hard, and that I think if they hadn't come at me so hard, I might not have fought back so hard. But they really tried to destroy me. I mean, and there's still, I mean, the medical board thing is enough, it just keeps me going. It's actually kind of good because it just keeps me wanting to fight the fact that this medical board stuff is still going on. But yeah, I don't know. I'm independent. I have an independent spirit to begin with. And I really do think the older brothers like toughened me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, going through residency really toughens you up. It is like the military. I mean, you really have to it's grueling. You have no control over your time. You have no control of when you sleep or eat. It's very hard to get through, which has been one of my criticisms of why they are putting Casey Means as our Surgeon General, because she could not complete her residency. And it's a rite of passage, and it is very difficult to get through. And
Right.
I wanted to quit all the time. But you get through it, and she didn't get through it. And so there are over 1 million doctors in the United States that did get through it. They could find one of those to be our Surgeon General. That would be great.
Interesting. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share this with us, and Merry Christmas to your family. We're just about at Christmas and at this recording, but thank you so much for taking the time and sharing this with us. I hope that we can catch up with you because obviously there's a lot going on in the background, and we certainly want to see what's happening with Houston Methodist as far as the outcome on that investigation.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me. I think 2025, I feel like we were vindicated in a lot of ways, and then I think 2026 is the year of retribution.
Amen to that. Let's have some of that retribution. I want to hold somebody accountable and make them. Well, you know what? I could just use an apology, just a sincere apology by one of those creatures, that force that on the whole world. That would be wonderful. I certainly don't want to let it slip under the rug like many of these organizations want us to do, but I guess I don't know where that's going to end up.
Yeah. I don't know if I could settle for an apology, but I would certainly like to hear it.
Well, I think it would be a start, right? I think that the healing has to start with something like that, because it's certainly to me it feels like it's still an open wound.
Yep.
And it has to be sewn up somehow, or has to start healing. So. But anyway, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for taking the time. God bless you, and continue to fight and move the ball forward. So, fantastic book. We'll make sure to let everybody know about that. And this organization, the Americans for Health Freedom, and go on your campaign in Harris County. So good luck with that.
Thank you so much.
If you don't mind sticking around just for 10 seconds after, I'm just going to say goodbye to the audience. And thank you very much again for your time. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Unscrew the News. This is Bruce Scholl. Make sure to share this out. Like I said many, many times, get this out to more eyeballs, get some more information, get people to wake up to the causes. This is our time. And let's stay sane together. Keep your head on a swivel. This is Bruce Scholl, and I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching Unscrew the News. I appreciate your participation in freedom in Canada. Share this information and help others to wake up. God bless.